Hello, my name is Sandy Anderson, and this is my Module 1 for EDL 851. Just to introduce myself a little bit personally, I kind of go by the 3 F's in life: faith, family, and fun is what we try to do. I am a wife and a mother of 4. We've got a junior, freshman, 7th grader, and a 2nd grader. So we stay quite busy. I personally love to learn. If I'm not taking classes, I am probably reading something on my own, and I just like to find ways to kind of improve whatever it is I am doing. I love teaching. I love to help kids. I love to be a part of the aha moments for them in life. I also am an organizer. I kind of want to be a professional organizer on the side sometimes because I really enjoy creating systems and maybe a little bit type A. And I also love live entertainment, such as concerts, sporting events, just kind of anything with a big crowd I'm a fan of. Professionally, I've been a classroom teacher for 1st and 2nd grade. I'm currently a reading interventionist and also the MTSS coordinator for our building. I've been on our BLT team, part of the curriculum adoptions, and just kind of feel like I actively take part in almost everything within the building while trying to also be respectful and not do everything so everybody has opportunities. So I work in a very small school within a large district. We have about 150 kids within our building, and then district-wide there's about 1,200. So we're just a teeny little nugget within the Rock Creek School District. So a little bit about what we have read. I kind of identified about 6 key characteristics that I think are important to develop the capacity to collaboratively develop a school's professional capacity. So what do leaders have to help develop that building capacity? So the first one I put on there was a visionary. I feel like you must see the big picture and you must share that with others. I do feel that is kind of one of my strengths, is just seeing like overall like what needs to happen, like culture shifts. And then kind of the weakness that can come along with that is sometimes I do struggle when others aren't visionary, when they like to be kind of complacent. So definitely a weakness of mine. I would say invested is another key characteristic. You must be invested in what it is you're doing. So if there's questions on content for instruction that you don't know about, like you have to do the work to find out. I do feel like that is one of my strengths, but sometimes that can lead to too much investment, and maybe coddling would be a great word for that, for others that might not have that knowledge. I think about strategic. Leaders must be very strategic in how they do things rather than like a shaker that just kind of goes in and throws around things. You must think all the way through. You must consider pros, cons, is it sustainable, just kind of have that type of mindset. Sometimes the weakness that can come along with that for me is you can make things harder than they have to be. Like some things are just simple and you can keep them simple. Integrity is I would probably move that up on my list. I believe that we can all have great ideas, but doing what we say is very important. I do always strive to do that, but I am definitely human and I will fail at that multiple times, I'm sure. Energetic is another characteristic that I think can really develop that capacity within your school. I love to find ways to entertain everyone. I was the youngest of 5, so I like to find ways to make people laugh, and I still do that at school too. So it's kind of fun to bring that type of energy. The only problem with that is sometimes it can cause you to burn out way quicker than others. The last key characteristic that I put on there was being adaptive. You want to always do what is best for kids and adapt to that, but sometimes that can come at the cost of not giving something long enough to work. And so that does happen occasionally. You can almost be too adaptive to where you keep changing things and you have to just give it time to work. So those are what I kind of identified as the key characteristics. So kind of going through how I defined leadership capacity, I believe that it is the knowledge and the will to collaboratively attract and engage educators in a learning community that systematically welcomes professional, engages to utilize the diversity and strengths for all for the improvement of learning and well-being of all students and staff. So a lot going into that, and we'll kind of dissect it a little bit further here. A school's professional capacity, like how do we get these people here? How do we build this? I think you have to be very proactive. You can't really wait for them to come to you, honestly. Like I'm not a building administrator yet, but I've definitely planted seeds with people that I know for if I ever am going to. You want to choose the good teachers. Todd Whitaker is kind of great at going through just different approaches to this. You want to be supportive. You don't want to hire and then just let go of them. You want to have the resources that they need. You also want a very collaborative environment, so mentoring programs. You want to be very explicit about everything. Just be direct, open, honest. Try to support them as much as you can, and engaging. People want to work where it's fun, and so you've got to bring that to the table to develop that professional capacity. Considering a collaborative professional culture, where we're all kind of working and learning together, like how is that the norm? I really appreciated this because it just kind of put to words like thoughts that I had of like, how do we get everybody to want to learn? And I think you have to be visionary and share that vision. You have to be systematic in your approaches. You can't throw things around. You have to have a meaning behind the madness. There has to just be a community of that learning where we all support each other and we want to see each other be successful. And it also has to be very engaging, like get everyone's curiosity going about what it is that you're learning and how to be better, and inspiring. We need to like lift each other up, and not just in the like good job pat on the back, like really notice others' successes and celebrate them. So I think that's just kind of how you develop the culture. And then when it gets to the actual learning, like what does that need to look like? That definitely needs to be mission and vision based, like always going back to that mission statement and putting the student at the center of every question. It should be data driven. It's very easy to go off on rabbit trails, especially with professional learning. So looking at the data and having that drive your decisions and your discussions, not just a random idea. It also needs to be responsive to what teachers are wanting, like what they feel like they need support in. Systematic, again, you must be systematic in how you approach things. Otherwise, you can just have lots of conversations that are never productive. I think shared responsibilities is huge as well. We're kind of going through that with our PLCs, making sure that we're putting everybody in different positions to share that responsibility, and it's not always just a top-down approach. I think accountability is huge. We talk a lot about many great things, but if we don't have the systematic approach to hold everybody accountable to this professional learning, it often is left at the table when people get up to leave. Reflective is also very important. And that's kind of with that accountability, making sure we have the time to reflect on what has happened and then how we can change that. And then our approach and our learning also has to be sustainable. Kind of like lesson plans for teaching, often you can write really great things down on paper and it can look beautiful, but like, is it sustainable and is it realistic? I think are things that we need to ask ourselves. So when we implement these systems, how we need to approach it needs to be data-driven support, okay? So when we consider like observing teachers and supporting them in those ways, we need to have data to support it. We need consistent observations, so then seeing us walking through as administrators is a very normal thing and comfortable. So we can just have those open conversations. Thorough communication. I say that because sometimes I think we just don't say what needs to be said often. And I think it's important to be very thorough and not leave any gray area. A collaborative environment, we're all supporting each other. So when one of us needs help or we're struggling, we pick each other up. Goal-oriented is one that I really want to focus on as well, is really setting your own professional goals and how we can work towards achieving that and what needs to happen in order to make that happen. And then again, those reflective conversations after we've considered what we've done, what we need to do better, and how we will achieve that. So I think those are all important ways in which we can develop that productive school culture and climate. So considering my standards, I think this correlates with the course learning outcomes, and I will let you read through that on your own. And here are my relevancy and reflection. So thanks for listening.